SBC turmoil, another blow to the executive committee as a candidate withdrawal. The SBC finds itself in turmoil once again. It's not like there's enough crisis out there already and enough things that are stirring the pot for Southern Baptists. But at this point, they had a candidate that was being presented or was anticipated to be presented in the February Executive Committee meeting to the full board. And the search team has now released a press release through Baptist Press yesterday that this is not going to happen because the candidate has now withdrawn. So because of that, a lot of things now are up in question once again. And this just basically leads to a number of weeks, months, and now years of upheaval and turmoil at our executive committee over a number of things and number of decisions that have been made without a good, steady leader at this point. Well, Baptist Press did make this release, and let me highlight just a couple of things real quickly from the release as we look at it. First off, they mentioned right off the bat that the Baptist Press in the Baptist Press article, that the search team had done an extensive search that interviewed 30 candidates via questionnaire, Zoom, and in person, according to a January 8 press release. That candidate was Reverend Thomas Hammond, Executive Director for Georgia Baptist Mission Board. He's been in that role for several years now, was previously at First Baptist Church of Alpharetta, and that's where he went to the Georgia Baptist role from, and prior to that was with the North American Mission Board. Now, without any question, a lot of speculation was out there, but Hammond put to rest that speculation with a letter or an email to Southern Baptist pastors in Georgia. Here's a little of what he said. He said, Carrie and I, his wife, of course, Carrie and I began to pray about this and felt we should be open to the opportunity as it might be something God could call us towards. We have a great love for Southern Baptist Convention and have been committed to serving in the SBC for decades. It was this love and gratitude that compelled us to be open to walk through a process of discovery and to seek God's will. Carrie and I both felt peace that the process was one of intentionality and integrity. As the process continued, I was informed that I was the leading candidate, which propelled us deeper into discerning God's will. He wraps it up saying, over the past week, it has become clear that God's will for us is to remain in Georgia. This is no news for some. Some had anticipated this was coming soon, but others were unaware. But Hammond felt like it was necessary to send this email. And I affirm him in doing that. The best way to put to rest any kind of rumors and speculation and misinformation is to communicate clearly. The Baptist paper, which is the Alabama Baptist paper, they also published an article, as have several other publications. And in their release, they had a couple of things to say that were unique, but one of them is they laid out the due diligence that the committee had said they were going to follow. That due diligence, very important, was an invitation phase, interview phase, investigation phase, and introduction phase. They also said in doing due diligence, this is quoting from Neil Hughes, who is the Director of Missions and Executive Director there in Montgomery, Alabama, and he's the chairperson for this committee. He said, in due diligence, we gathered references from over 60 people from every walk of SBC life, including a full review of primary, secondary, and tertiary references. In accordance with the executive committee's newly adopted hiring guidelines, Hughes noted, we completed an extensive list of checks and tests. The search team evaluated the person during numerous meetings, reviewing his vision and having our questions answered. Very significant that they noted several of these things, but one, there have been, with so many issues over the hiring of a new CEO, not doing adequate background checks, as that was revealed with Willie McLaren, several other things. So now they've put in place a pretty extensive, detailed list of things that need to be done. And so that's kind of what they were following at this point. In addition to that, Religion News reported, they gave this statement and said the executive committee has had 5 top leaders since 2018, including a pair of permanent leaders who resigned in the face of controversy. The committee has struggled in recent years in the wake of a major sex abuse scandal in the SBC. Hammond, though, was not without his own critics. They further state this: Hammond has vocal critics among his own Georgia constituency and among other SBC leaders. Under his watch, Georgia Baptist Mission Board has shrunk its staff by more than 75%, and cooperative program giving in the state has declined from $40 million to $31 million, a dramatic decline for one of the largest state conventions affiliated with the SBC. Further, Baptist News Global added this: the first presidential candidate brought to the executive committee was Texas pastor Jared Wellman. He was voted down the last May, largely over concern about the process. Then, 3 months later, interim president Willie McLaren, who was the next finalist for the permanent position, abruptly resigned within the search when the search committee discovered that he had fabricated most of his resume, which that alone raises lots of questions, and we're not going to go into depth on that at this point. But if you know names or individuals who you might recommend to fill this position, here's the information on how to submit that. I am throwing this out there, not knowing exactly what the process is at this point as far as opening that back up. So Hughes did not say anything about that in the Baptist Press interview. None of the other press releases have said anything about that either. And so we don't know exactly now if they're just going to go back to the list of previous applicants, if they're going to open the search back up and receive more resumes, whatever. But here is the information. If you by chance have a comment or information that you would like to communicate to the executive committee, you can do that at this address. These are the various places where you can find them. And that would be helpful to them to hear back from you as Southern Baptists. As Southern Baptists, our churches are about us. They're not about anything else, even though it appears that there's a cabal sometimes that's running things behind the scenes. But obviously at this point, whatever was going on behind the scenes, Neil Hughes kind of put that to rest with the due diligence that they're following. I'm glad to hear that, how important that is for sure. Stay in touch. We'll try to keep you posted on any new upcoming things.